and welcome to the Technology Geek Unleashed. That's right, this is the Technology Geek Unleashed. This is our Unleashed show. So what is the Technology Geek Unleashed? Well, folks, what it basically is it's a second show that I'm going to put out in the earlier part of the week, Monday or Tuesday. Now, why are we doing another show? Well, it's very simple. Well, I want to actually provide a second show because you guys have been asking for more content. I mean, I get tons of email. And by the way, if you have any emails at all, like I said, you can email me, obviously, lapanytech@gmail.com, the same email it's been for 2 or 3 years. And I love all the email. I get tons of email from you guys a week, and I love it all. So keep it coming. I love all the email. But, it's a way of me kind of getting out of my comfort zone a little bit because, the Technology Geek has always been about tech, has always been about geek, and the Unleashed show is a way of me giving you kind of the shoot the breeze show that everybody has come to like. And then what Friday's show is going to be, Friday is probably 99.9% of the time, I'm always going to have a guest on a Friday. The show's really grown over the years, and thanks to you guys, by the way. It's all thanks to you guys, the fans. And the show's really grown over the year, and I got a lot of guest requests. So I'm trying to get usually Fridays are going to usually be guest day, and it's usually Monday or Tuesday is going to be just the me show. Now, the other thing we're going to do on the Technology Geek as well, I joined the Electronic Media Group, which is a really great group of musicians. And what we're going to do, folks, we're going to go ahead and we're going to try to go ahead and get music on the show, independent artists, guys that maybe aren't indie artists but don't get the most radio exposure. We're going to try to get those guys on the show, get some of their music playing. So you're going to get some music along with just me talking too. So that's going to be a lot of fun as well. And that's my iPhone going off. I got to make sure I turn that off before I start recording. I'm sharing my ride home with you guys today because I got a long ride home from a customer, and I'm thinking to myself, I could probably just bang this podcast out for you guys. Before. But so lo and behold, folks, I went to bang out the podcast, and lo and behold, I had a little interesting situation here with the podcast. So I've been working on getting the Unleashed, an RSS feed up for the Unleashed. This way you guys can have 2 RSS feeds rather than, so Friday will be your guest feed for all the guests, and then the Unleashed show will be the just me show and music and a lot of other topics that probably won't be tech related. But so I said, well, let me go ahead and get this podcast up there. So I went to go ahead and submit my feed, and come to find out when I'm submitting my feed that, guess what? I can't submit it because the Apple's having issues with their store. So I went on, went on having issue with their servers. So I went up there and I went on Mashable and Slashdot and found out that Apple's having actually an outage. Now, Apple has, over the last couple days, felt the necessity to do a couple of things that I don't particularly care for. One, they pushed out a new app to my iPhone 5 that is now like a watch app now because I don't have a watch and I won't get a watch because I don't really care for the Apple Watch. And there's nothing bad about it. I just don't particularly think it's really cool, and I don't particularly want one. I wear a watch right now. I wear a Swiss watch with a survival strap. Hey, by the way, since I'm talking about for survival straps, I guess I got an early plug in there for our members club. You get all discounts off of companies like survival straps. Iron. You get all different kinds of them off of Pro XPN, IT Pro TV. You get all these different sponsors. You get all different types of discounts off them, off our members club. Over 30 different groups are part of the members club now. But that's a little early for a plug for the show. But I figure since I'm talking about watch bands, might as well get a plug in there for survival straps on the members club. So, folks, one of the things too is one of the things about the Apple Watch is I don't particularly care for the Apple Watch, and I'll tell you why. I know a lot of people say to me all the time, well, a watch is an accessory. Why would you wear a watch when you could just, do a thing on your phone? And I'm like, well, because why would you go ahead and, like for me, I don't know if I'd really want to. Like a lot of people say all the time, well, just take your phone out and look at the time. Well, I don't want to do that. I want to actually, look down at my wrist and see what time it is. I don't pull my phone out. Somebody's like, well, the Apple Watch is going to allow you to do that. So does a Samsung Watch. And I'm like, you're absolutely right, it does. But I don't know if I want. First of all, the watch has a backup feature that if it starts running low on power, that'll work like a regular watch. So now I'm back to square one. That's the first problem. Second of all, is I don't want an Apple Watch because it's something else to charge. I got like 3 or 4 things to charge at night. Okay, I got my iPad. Okay, because I got to record this show. I got my wife's phone, my phone, my kid's Kindle. That's 4 devices right there just charging the night. I don't need to worry about charging my watch. And then what if I forget to charge my watch? And I got to charge it on the way to work in the morning. I don't know. I don't particularly care for the whole Apple Watch idea personally. That's just me. Because I don't want something else to charge. You know what I'm trying to say? That's just me. Now, am I right? Probably. Everybody. You can say I'm right, I'm wrong. It doesn't really matter. But it's just something else I don't want to have to charge. So we got that going on now. So we got the Apple Watch. But now Apple pushes out updates last night. So now I got an app now on my phone for the watch. On my iPhone 5 for the watch here. 5S, excuse me. And then now I got an update for my iPad. I got an update for my iMac the other day that I had to take care of. And for my MacBook Pro. So I had all that. So I had all these updates last night, and now they're down today. So I'm curious to see maybe if the outage was because of that. I don't know what the outage is about yet. While I'm recording this show, the outage is still going on, so I'm not exactly sure what the heck the outage is about. But apparently there is an outage, and it's due to something. So we will find out very shortly what it is when they come back online. But also, too, they also have a $10,000 version of the Apple Watch. I don't need a $10,000 iWatch. Okay, if I wanted to buy an iWatch, if I want to buy something like $10,000, I'll buy a Rolex if I had that kind of money. Okay, I'll put a down payment on a house. I mean, I don't need an Apple Watch that's that pricey, That's just me. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not saying I'm right or I'm wrong. I'm just saying I don't need to spend that kind of money on a watch. But the other thing is, too, the other thing that is kind of neat was they put out a new MacBook. But it's not a MacBook Pro, it's just a MacBook Air. Now, I really like the MacBook Pro line. That's my line of laptops, okay? I've had a MacBook Pro for probably 6-7 years now, and I've had an iMac, okay? I like Apple computers, okay? But this new one is the thinnest thing that they can make. And one of the things, they changed the adapter to I think it's like a USB 3 kind of adapter. And I understand that, and I get that, and I think that is pretty cool. But I got to tell you, I think there's a reason why Apple's doing this. Because they want to sell you more adapters. Now, I understand that, and I understand how business works, and I understand that they have to do that because they have to make a profit because they're a company, they're a hardware company. But this is also a way of them, too, selling you more adapters. But, yeah, I mean, another thing, too, is one thing that is nice, they did make it smaller and slimmer so that, you can, that it is easier to get in and out of bags and stuff like that. So I do understand why they have this new emphasis on thinness. So I do understand that. But, they had that, and then they had the watch. Obviously, they have a new Apple TV, which is going to have native support for HBO Go, which we all knew HBO Go was going to have a standalone, streaming service. They've been saying that for a long time now, so that's nothing really new. So we knew that was coming. But, yeah, that was at the Apple event as well, but now they're actually having an outage. So I'm curious to see why the joke. A couple of my buddies that are in IT says to me, "Oh, it's probably because they're going ahead. It's everybody buying their watch." So one of the things I thought that was neat, they have I think 3 dozen different types of watches, and that what they're actually going to do is you can actually go to the Apple Store and they found a way to deal with all the different types of the way that everybody's going to want to order all different kinds of watches. They actually have a way to handle that now at the Apple Store. So I thought that was kind of neat. I thought that was kind of a neat little thing that they had going on. I mean, Apple is a big company. They figure all this kind of stuff out, by the way, before they do anything. They figured out, how they're going to handle. They know how they're going to handle the App Store, how they're going to handle the Apple Store. They know how they're going to handle, the sales. They think about all this kind of stuff when they come out with the product. But so iTunes U, by the way, I want to talk about that too. I've been dealing with iTunes U a little bit. What iTunes U is basically. It's basically a bunch of people that get together and decide that this is the way this content should be delivered to kids, and this is how we should deliver it. And they don't allow, they deal directly with Apple. And they decide. It's basically educators deciding how content should be delivered. They have some updates to that going on as well. But I heard that wasn't actually as part of the whole Apple thing. But that was on a side note that I had heard from a teacher that they've got some updates coming out for the. For iTunes U. And what the iTunes U is, like I said, it's basically a bunch of educators that got together and said, hey, this is how this chapter or this content should be delivered to this kid. And it's basically built right on curriculum. And a lot of what I've actually read is that a lot of schools are actually building their curriculums around the iTunes U store because a lot of schools are actually going one-to-one iPad now. So a lot of them are actually figuring out how are we going to deal with this? And they actually went ahead and they've actually done one-to-one iPad. They have iTunes U, and they have all the different apps and stuff from the App Store. So a lot of places are going one-to-one iPad. They actually have, iPad carts and all that kind of stuff. But what they say, the accessory business for phones and stuff is like a $2 billion a year industry. It's pretty amazing, by the way, if you think about it, price-wise. But so like I said, we got the major announcements from Apple this week. Like I said, the watch, the new HBO. We had the new the new laptop, iTunes U. So Apple actually did have quite a few fairly large announcements this week. And good for them. But one of the things I know is I get a lot of, like I said, I get a lot of emails from you guys, and I love all the email. By the way, folks, keep it coming. I love all the emails. Like I said, lepanitech@gmail.com. But I love all the email, and a lot of people are telling me that they were actually a lot of things that they're offering on the watch were actually available on Samsung and other platforms years and years ago. And I agree with you on that. Now, one of the things too that so many people have been joking about. And a couple people emailed me and said, "Have you seen the watch? It looks like something out of Dick Tracy." And you're right, it does look like a square watch. Now, the only thing that a lot of people said, well, why don't they give you a round watch so it looks like a watch? But the problem with that is they give you a round watch. Most of the apps are designed square, so you actually lose a lot of real estate. Because apparently, I think the goal is that the apps. Well, I think it is the goal, or is that way. But the apps will actually work right on the actual watch. So you will actually get, it'll actually be, if it was round, you'd actually lose quite a bit of real estate for your app. So I think that's the whole plan. I think that's why they're doing it the way they're doing it. But I think that's what I'm hearing anyway from, what I've read and what I've seen at the, the event. And, obviously, like I said, it's, I think overall, I think this is going to be the latest trend in wearable computing. Now, you have to remember, too, Apple wants to get into the wearable computing market because, let's be real about it, they haven't really been in it at all. They've, obviously had Google Glass, and Google got into it a little bit, and, Fitbit got into it, and, a lot of other people have gotten into it, but Apple really hasn't had any wearable items. And I think the watch, too, now that they got the watch on you, it's going to integrate via Bluetooth, to your phone. And then, they can track all your steps and all this kind of stuff. And then, too, you can also take pictures with the watch. You can line it up with the watch and all that. So a lot of neat things coming out of the Apple event, no doubt about that. But I'm not sure if the watch is really the way I would go with it personally. Like I said, I'm not a wearable computing kind of person. I'm an old school kind of, I like to wear my watch and my wedding ring, and that's about it. But like everybody's like, well, you're wearing a watch. Why wouldn't you want to wear? Well, it's not really my cup of tea. But again, I think it comes down to personal preference. You never know. I might get one, love it, and then rave about it. Who knows? But right now, that's definitely a no. I'm not going to spend that kind of money. And especially not for something that's going to go out of date. My watch, I've had the same watch for quite a few years now. But especially something that's going to go out of date fairly quickly. And it is going to go out of date, folks, because let's put up one thing. Apple is in the hardware business. Apple needs to sell you stuff. So Apple is going to have to make it go out of date so they can sell you another one in a year or two from now. That's their business model. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a very smart business model. Why? We all buy it. So one of the things that's funny is people are saying that, people are going to be lining up for this. Well, you're absolutely right. They always line up for it. I mean, that's just the way Apple has that kind of brand recognition, that kind of brand power. That's just the way it is. So... But yeah, so like I said, currently right now their services are down. I'm not sure if it's because of all the updates. Not sure if people grabbing the products online. I'm not exactly sure why they're down, but they are definitely having an outage. So as soon as I get more info on that, I will hopefully add it to this podcast. If not, we'll talk about it the next time I'm on the air. So like I said, I'm driving home, right now, and. Like I said, it's really nice weather right now, too. Let me tell you, we've been up here in the mountains up in Pennsylvania, man. We've been getting hit so hard with the cold weather. And let me tell you, it's really nice. We got some 40-degree days and stuff, and all these feet and feet and feet of snow are finally starting to melt. That's nice. We've actually been waiting for that. We haven't had any real melting of any type of snow at all, over the last month or so. We've been getting these Arctic blasts from up north. And it's been wreaking really, really a lot of trouble for people, frozen pipes and stuff like that. I mean, we've been getting like 20-degree below nights. February, we have one of the coldest Februarys on record. So it's really nice to get these warm days and kind of get get things going again as far as the weather and And, hopefully it will be nice, and hopefully we're doing some stuff outdoors here soon. Like I said, I want to start working on my garden. I've been collecting the pallets now. I want to build some raised garden beds, do some planting over the holiday, not over the holidays, but, right around the holiday, right before Labor Day and stuff, right around May. I want to go ahead and, get all that done, get some dirt delivered and all that. So I was out last night with the four-wheeler. The road, we live on a dirt road, and it's just so slushy because of all this weather and all this melting. It's so slushy. I was out there with the four-wheeler the other day trying to just make some tracks in there so my wife and I can get up to our house with our cars, which has been a nightmare and a half. But so this past week I got a lot of good feedback about Randy being on the 50th. We celebrated 50 episodes this past week with Randy from Grolix. He came on the show. Really great group of guys. Let me tell you, Randy and Jesse and all those guys, a really great group of guys. I love recording with those guys. It's great to just turn on the mics and just go to town with those boys. And they are a really great group of guys. And like I said, they were on the show. And Randy and I kind of got way off topic, but he elaborated a little more on the music royalty rights business, elaborated on Bandcamp, and a lot of musical stuff. If you haven't checked the episode out, it's episode 50. It's available on the technologygeek.org, our website, or as well on our iTunes feed, or on any feed particularly. We're on all of them. Stitcher now. We're on TuneIn, iTunes. We're all over the place. But like I said, he was on talking about that, and he actually runs the Electronic Media Coalition, the EMC. And what it is a bunch of musicians that we get together. Everybody gives podcasters and stuff their music, and the guys can play it during the show. I'm going to play some music for you guys here in a little while. Some of the music that I got from those guys. Not a lot of it, but just some every week so you guys can hear what's out there and kind of hear what's going on. Like I said, I want eventually when Apple services come up, we're going to get an RSS feed for the Unleashed show as well. But Randy's really got it together over there as far as getting groups together, getting people to actually put music on their podcasts, and it's just because that's the biggest problem for doing a podcast. It's hard to do a music podcast because you got to deal with all these record companies and all these music royalties. And I understand people got to get paid, and I understand that, and I'm not against that by any stretch of the imagination. I want people to get paid for their services. Okay. I mean, we get some, we don't get a paycheck out of this, but, you guys donate and, we keep the site up and running because you guys support it. It's crowdfunded. And I understand that, people got to get paid. But when you're doing a podcast and, you got a band, you're trying to play their music and you got to pay them. What this is actually a bunch of independent musicians that kind of just say, hey, you got a podcast, it's a popular podcast, throw my music up there, and, I don't want money for it. Just play my music so more people hear it, because I don't get the mainstream exposure that like a Nickelback would get. And I'm not picking on Nickelback. I'm a huge Nickelback fan. But the truth of the matter is Nickelback does not need me to play their music on my podcast. For the simple reason is they get enough exposure. They don't need it. Okay? But what this is, but I got, like I said, I had Randy on this week. I got Jesse on this week. Randy jumps in a little bit at the end. That's going to be on the Friday, so you guys will really like that show. It's a good show. And then what I got is then what I got the following week, I got my buddy coming. I got a buddy of mine coming on called Onslaught. That's his name. His band's Reapers, and he's going to be on talking more about their music and how they got started and how you can make money as an independent musician and all that kind of stuff. So I got them coming on the following week's show, and I'm hoping to line up. I got a couple other guests lining up as well. Now, we're also coming into the spring here, too. So I got a couple of live, I don't want to say live events, because they are live. It's a live audience. But I got some live events coming up at the Gamer's Edge and a couple other places where we're going to have some live audience, and we're actually going to have people interacting with the show. Going to take the microphone I got and ask some questions about tech and Geek and all that. I got my friend Howard. We're going to do him and I are going to co-host a show at the Gamer's Edge. We got so many live events. I'm going to Anacon this year. I already got my table set up in Anacon. So if you're going to Anacon in Allentown, I'm going to be there this year. We got tons of stuff, folks. This podcast has grown beyond belief over the last year. And it's all because of you guys. We're starting to get some traction now. It's all because of you guys, the fans and listeners. So I do appreciate that. We could not do this if it wasn't for you guys. You guys are the ones that get, buy the members club, give donations and all that, and keep the site up and running and make it so we can do these events. When I went to the Philly Comic-Con last year, I did a live show right from there. That was paid for by you guys. That was paid for by you. You guys bought the ticket. I went and just gave you guys a show. Okay? That was by you. That meant a lot to me. So, I want to thank all you guys for the way you guys support the show and the way you keep it going. That's why I do it. You guys are the people that make me do it. You guys keep, as long as you guys want it, I keep doing it. I've said that since day one. It'll always be free. As long as everybody keeps going with the donations, all that type of stuff, keeps the site maintenance and stuff like that up. So I'm about half, like I said, I'm almost home now. So what I'm going to do, folks, I'm going to put the microphone down here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and either pick it up later and keep working on this podcast, or worst comes to worst, I'll throw some music on at the end. But this is the Technology Geek Unleashed. All right, guys, so I'm back here now, back at the compound here. Finally got all settled and finish off this podcast. Before I get some music I want to play for you two in a minute, but I wanted to get some of the things here on the show. First of all, some news I'm reading here on Mashable, which is kind of funny. Apparently, Hillary Clinton says the reason why she was using her personal email account is because she can't have more than one email account on a BlackBerry. Does anybody else here call shenanigans? I do. You know as well as I know that you can't. You can have more than one email account on a BlackBerry. Don't know what the heck. Hold on one second. So, honey, apparently Hillary Clinton is saying that the reason why she was using her personal email for government work is because she cannot have two email accounts on one BlackBerry. Now, honey, you had a BlackBerry longer than anybody I knew. Is that true? Tell us your thoughts. Can you have more than one email account on a BlackBerry?
Yeah.
Talking to the microphone, honey.
Yes, you can have two emails on a BlackBerry.
So then you think it's politics, that she's lying? You think it's typical political BS?
They're trained liars. What are you talking about?
That's my wife, folks. She just told you right there. Political people are trained liars. Yeah, she said she can't have more than one email account on a BlackBerry, which is the reason why she was using her personal account for information. That is a bunch of baloney. You heard it right there from my wife. So, guys, let me spin some music for you, and then we'll go into some other headlines. Stay right there. That was my buddy Randy. You heard him live this past week on the podcast. That was his thing, Control Alt Destroy. It's really, really awesome. So, folks, pulling up some headlines that you guys send me, as well as some that I find. So, apparently, interesting news this afternoon, excuse me. Slipknot guitarist Mike Thompson, aka Number 7 to the fans of the metal band, the brothers were admitted into an Ohio hospital on Wednesday due to suffered a serious yet non-life-threatening injury. Apparently, he was stabbed in the head by his younger brother. So, a little to say that was neat. He sent out some tweets about it. Corey Taylor did, and in regards to the story, Mick, about Mike, I'm doing the best I can to find out if he's all right. I'll get back to you later. And then he had an update a little bit later and says, for what I've heard, he's okay. But apparently his brother stabbed him. Band was, as you know, guys, formed in the mid-'90s. One of my wife's favorite bands, and they're pretty good. I like them. So something neat. Gangster's Paradise, apparently, the song by Coolio, which we all remember from 1997, apparently got a vintage cover it deserves today in a YouTube video by a rap group. And apparently it's by, like I said, it's by Scott Barlow. Apparently he's a YouTuber. And so that was, somebody sent me that today. I thought that was kind of neat. So some other things as well. Facebook apparently is targeting emerging markets with low bandwidth ads. They're doing this obviously because, as you guys know, a lot of people have data plans, and a lot of people have been complaining about their data plans and all that. Well, apparently Facebook is now going to go ahead and have ads that are low bandwidth. The other thing as well is we still have, and one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting is there's still a lot of dial-up customers. So that's the other reason why they're doing it. I was kind of surprised by that a lot of dial-up customers still use Facebook. But hey, what are you going to do? But yeah, apparently, like I said, there are a lot of dial-up customers still on Facebook, as well as people that are complaining about their data plans. And also, too, folks, the other thing you have to remember, too, if you guys remember, Facebook started with those videos that would automatically play, and you had to go in and set the settings so that it wouldn't play on your you would only play when the videos wouldn't automatically play unless you're on Wi-Fi. It wouldn't play over your data plan. You remember all that craziness. So Wikipedia is suing NSA over its mass surveillance program. That's kind of neat. Wikipedia filed a lawsuit on Tuesday challenging the constitutionality of the United National Security Agency mass surveillance of internet communications, a sudden and striking challenge that comes nearly 2 years after the Edward Snowden disclosures first began. So the online encyclopedia site apparently is suing the NSA, and Justice Department claims that the U.S. government mass surveillance, blah 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 blah, a lot of lawyer jargon, but apparently they're suing over that. That was actually in the National Journal. I haven't seen those guys in a fairly large headline in a while, but. So Google opens up its first branded retail store. Apple's pretty much had the market, and we talked about Apple a little in the podcast, but they've had pretty much the market on, any type of the retail stores. Well, now apparently Google and Microsoft are getting into it now, so I thought that was kind of neat. So some other things I found on Slashdot here. Apparently, not even 24 hours after the Apple Watch, there are already Chinese ripoffs, and that was on Slashdot. And that doesn't surprise me. They've had the Wii's over there, the ripoff Wii's. Any electronics that we have over here, they always rip them off over there in Europe. Or not Europe, in Japan and stuff like that, in China and stuff like that. So that's nothing new. But yeah, it was at least 24 hours after. That was pretty crazy. And then two, apparently it's kind of a cool thing here. I'm not a huge gamer, but I do play on Steam. But apparently Steam obviously has tons of games now for Mac. But apparently they says now they have over 1,000 games available for Linux now as well. So Steam has really picked up. When I first started playing Steam, I pretty much just jumped on there to play Counter-Strike. But that's a service that's really, really grown over the years, and it's actually really cool. It's a really great service. I really like it, and they do a really good job. I've never really had too many problems with their services, so I really like them a lot. So Google apparently now is announcing its official release of Android Lollipop 5.1, it's a small update for the mobile operating system. Focuses on stability and performance, but apparently the main new feature includes support for multiple SIM cards. That's pretty cool. Through high definition voice calls, supported devices, all that stuff. The ability to join Wi-Fi networks and manage Bluetooth pairing. Through quick settings. The biggest new feature is device projection. They say with device protection, your lost or stolen device will remain locked until you sign in with your Google account. Even if someone resets your device to factory default, the feature will be available on most Android phones and tablets shipping with Android 5.1. That was on Slashdot. So not that I talk about politics that often, but the Obama administration says that there are over 545,000 IT job openings. The White House has established that 100 million programs that are endorsed, fast-track, boot camp, IT training offering, efforts, and other 4-year degrees. Apparently, majority of the jobs. Federal program called Higher Tech will get its money from the H-1B visa fees. And apparently there will be over 545,000 unfilled IT jobs that will be filled. So that's kind of neat. So a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of little tech stories this week. The big one, obviously, is Apple unveiling their stuff. That's obviously the big one. So what I'll do is, guys, I'll play another band from the EMG group, and then I'll answer some of your emails and some of your questions right after this.
sitting alone in here. I can't recall your face. There are so many pieces of the past I can't erase. Alone and distant, I pretend that I'm alright. But after all this time has passed, I cannot hide. See me here, I'm falling down. Will I see you here before I try?
As it were, gulped up by thin air. You're just as much the thin air as anything else.
And that was the band Sequence with Distance. So a lot of neat questions we always get here, but somebody had sent a question to me the other day via, as we always take questions, by the way. Any questions, obviously, lapanitytech@gmail.com. You can find it on the website, technologygeek.org. Somebody had sent me a question: will Apple ever update the iPod Touch? So a lot, this has been my daughter has an iPod Touch as well, and And I guess the new iPod, obviously is coming out soon. But one of the things that Apple does is they plan for obsolescence. So, if you have an iPod Touch, it probably still, it'll still work just under the old iOS. But, if you can buy a new, even if you wanted to buy a newer iPod Touch, I mean, they're like $200, so they're not that expensive compared to like an iPhone or something like that. But yeah, they don't. I mean, there are. Gazelle and stuff like that will buy your old device and you can put that money towards another iPod Touch. That's an option. But yeah, there's, you can get a used iPad that will support the new iOS. So yeah, that's actually a really interesting question, to tell you the truth, because like I said, a lot of people have bought those devices, and I guess they want to use them, obviously. But yeah, sometimes they can't because the iOS has gone out of date. Yeah, that was actually a really good question. So somebody else, another phone question here. I actually had to look this one up. Somebody had asked with the new. We just talked about actually Lollipop before, but somebody said, "Can I get Lollipop on my Android phone? And how could I force it to update?" And that's the problem. That's the only thing I don't like about Android is they don't always release their updates for everything. But I mean, there are directions on xda-developers.com and how to actually root the phone and then force it to do the update. I don't recommend that, but that's an option. Somebody had told me too, you can actually go to the store and make them put the new OS on your device. That's an option you can try as well. There's a lot you can see. It depends. There's a couple things you can do with that, but yeah, that's really the unfortunate part of Android is that they actually, that's the fortunate part. They don't always update their stuff. Got a lot of Mac questions this week, and this is even before the Mac announcement, which is kind of neat. Somebody asked me, can I run Office 365 on my Mac? Yeah, that you can. Office 365 does run on the Mac. You can run Link on the Mac. You can run all that stuff on the Mac. That's you definitely can do that. There's no ands or buts about it. There's nothing wrong with that. You can definitely run. And Office 365 too also has a cloud-based version as well. So if you were having problems, say you have an older Mac and it's not running, you can actually go ahead and just run it even through the cloud, like a Google Docs and stuff like that. One of the things I found, folks, is that Google Docs does not offer the amount of grammar support, believe it or not, that Office 365 does, and or Microsoft Word does. So that's kind of a neat thing as well. I found that out just the other day. So somebody asked me, how can I somebody actually is a ham radio question. Somebody asked, how can I recondition an old ham radio? So apparently somebody has an old ham radio they want to do. If you can go to, a lot of the local ham clubs in your area, the guys there, that have time will actually recondition old hardware for free for you if you go to their club or even join their club. Most of those guys are really cool. Several of the local clubs in our area do it. I brought a radio one time that was kind of shot. Brought it. One of the guys took it home, and like a week or two later, brought it back and it was working. So, talk to your local ham clubs. You can go to awrl.org and talk to those guys, and email them and see if there's any place around. But yeah, most of those guys should be pretty good about helping you refurbish an old radio. And even too, if you join the local club, what does a club do? $20 a year. Make a friend or two, and one of those friends will probably fix it for you. So the hams are always looking to help other hams. So let's see, what do we have here? This is actually not really. This isn't really not really a tech question, but somebody actually, which is fine. This is Unleashed. Somebody asked me if. What do I think about the current setup of WrestleMania? Will I watch WrestleMania? And do I currently believe that that they're setting up for a good match? Well, I'm not going to lie. The whole Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns thing, I wasn't too thrilled about. But I'm not going to lie, when they had Reigns versus Daniel Bryan at Fastlane, I thought that was a really great push for them. And then the other thing, too, as well, is the whole situation with Paul Heyman doing that awesome promo this past Monday that just passed. I think that was really awesome. I really like that. And, one thing about... Sorry, I was going to take a sip of water. One of the things, I'm still fighting this cold yet. It just seems to be hanging on me here forever. So I really think Brock Lesnar is really the way Paul Heyman's really building Brock Lesnar up is really cool. And the other thing too, I really think is that one of the things that really psyched me up, especially for this for the current show, is the how he was talking about Paul Heyman's going off on it when it was rants. They keep turning off his microphone, very CM Punk-ish. And the other thing, too, they did with that as well is they have him talking about how Brock Lesnar wants to go ahead and unify the UFC and WWE titles. So that was something that really hyped me up. I'm not going to lie. If Paul Heyman's really getting me hyped up for the pay-per-view. I can't lie about it. I cannot tell a lie. So, yeah, that was something really cool as well. And then, obviously, as well, you also have they put that ladder match coming up now. They've added that to the card. I think that's going to really bring definitely some fun to the show. You know, ladder matches at WrestleMania are always a popular thing as well. And then, of course, you also have they added that Divas match to it. So you're going to have AJ Lee and Paige against the Twins. That's a really good match. I'm looking forward to that. So, you know, they've added a lot of good stuff. They have a tag team match, obviously, is going to be there as well. So I think they've really helped build the card up. I was just watching WWE Network today, actually, on my iPad for a little bit in between other things. And one thing I really noticed was Chris Jericho's new DVD, Road to Jericho. He had a match with Bray Wyatt. Cage match on Raw, and I saw that. That was a really great thing. I think his DVD eventually be available on network. Eventually, first they always release it on DVD first to try to get the DVD sales. Then they go ahead and throw it up on the network. But that was really good. But one of the things too that I'm really stoked about is that they're really building this thing up between Bray Wyatt and the Undertaker. That's a big thing on the card right now that I'm really looking forward to. And obviously, as we all are, Sting, obviously, and Triple H. So I think they've got a really good card set up, and I really think that we're going to see a great pay-per-view at WrestleMania. As I think we every WrestleMania is always good, but last year's was especially good, and I think this year may actually even top that with what they have going on right now. So I think that's pretty much, I'm going to wrap it up with the questions this week. I have a couple questions here, but I'll save them for next week here. But like I said, I want to thank everybody for listening. And like I said, you can catch all of our podcasts, our Friday show, as well as our Tuesday show, which is Unleashed. All those technologygeek.org, as well as iTunes, Stitcher, all that stuff. And like I said, there's we look forward to hearing from you guys. Like I said, any questions, email us in, and we'll do it on the Friday show, or we'll do it on this show, Unleashed. Fridays, I'm going to try to save for guests. And like I said, we want to thank you very much, and we will see you next week. Thank you very much.